皆さん、こんばんは。安倍晋三でございます。本日、私の大切な友人、トランプ大統領とメラニア夫人の初めての訪日を記念し、歓迎の晩餐会を催すことができ、大変嬉しく思います。
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shinzo Abe. I'm extremely delighted to host tonight's banquet here at the State Guest House in honor of the very first visit to Japan by my dear friend, President Trump, and Madam First Lady, Ms. Melania Trump.
昨日のゴルフ外交は世界から注目を浴びました。スコア以外はすべて発表させていただいたところでございますが、日米同盟の絆の強さを世界に発信することができたと思います。
Yesterday's golf diplomacy between Donald and me attracted so much attention, and we actually made everything public except for the score. And through golf, we could demonstrate to the world how strong the bond is between Japan and the United States.
ただ、日米のゴルフ外交は私たちが初めてではありません。ちょうど60年前、私の祖父とアイゼンハワー大統領とのゴルフが最初であります。プレーの後、アイゼンハワー大統領は、大統領になると嫌なやつともテーブルを囲まなければならないが、ゴルフは好きなやつとしかできないと語ったそうであります。
But Donald and I are not the first who promoted this unique golf diplomacy. Just 60 years ago, my grandfather, Prime Minister Kishi, and President Eisenhower are the ones who initiated this tradition. And after the golf match, President Eisenhower shared two lessons with my grandfather. One, once you become a president of the United States, you need to be at the table with a group of people whom you don't like to hang out. Second, when it comes to playing golf, you can play golf only with those who you really, really like to hang out.
私がこれに付け足すとすれば、さらに2度ゴルフをするのはよほど好きなやつとしかできないではないでしょうか、大統領。
But speaking of my relationship with President Trump, that is not enough. If I may add another lesson to the legacy of Prime Minister Kishi and President Eisenhower, I would say like this. When you play golf with someone not just once, but for 2 times, the person must be your favorite guy.
昨日は松山さんにゴルフをご一緒いただきましたが、本日は松山さんの先輩である青木さんにご参加をいただきました。
So yesterday, we had a pleasure of playing golf together with Mr. Hideki Matsuyama. And tonight, we are so honored to have the participation of Mr. Isao Aoki, who is a pioneer in Japanese golf.
昨日のゴルフでも、実は大統領と青木さんのことが話題になりました。世界を魅了したパッティングであります。その時ドナルドはこう言いました。ミスター青木のパッティングは芸術だった。でも打ち方は彼にしかできない。決して真似をしない方がいいだろうと。次回はぜひ一緒に学ばさせていただきたいと思います。
Even during the time that I played golf with President Trump, President and I were talking about Mr. Aoki. It is all about his putting. That was something that the entire world were mesmerized. And Donald told me as follows. Mr. Aoki's putting was just like super artistic. But you should never try to do the same because that is the only thing that Mr. Aoki can only do, and you will not be able to do that. So next time we play golf together, I would love to have Mr. Aoki to join us and enjoy the time that I will spend with Mr. Trump.
さて、メラニア夫人は本日、書道を体験いただき、平和の平をですね、メラニア夫人が書かれ、そして和を私の妻が書いたそうであります。まさに日本と米国が手を携えて、地域と世界の平和に貢献する。日米同盟の象徴をする、素晴らしい共同作業であったと、このように思います。
Speaking of the First Ladies, I understand that my wife Akie and Madam First Lady had a chance to try Japanese calligraphy. Each wrote one Chinese character or kanji. Hei by Madam First Lady, which means being smooth and calm, and wa by my wife Akie, which stands for harmony. And when combined, these two letters literally mean peace. And I think their wonderful joint work represents our alliance very nicely. Under our alliance, Japan and the United States work hand in hand to contribute to regional and global peace.
そしてこの2日間、私とトランプ大統領は多くの時間をかけて世界のさまざまな課題について深い議論を行うことができました。トランプ大統領とメラニア夫人に拉致被害者とそのご家族の皆様にお会いいただいたことを改めて感謝申し上げたいと思います。
For 2 days, President Trump and I spent many hours together and had an in-depth discussion on various global challenges. And I'm particularly grateful for President Trump and Madam First Lady, who kindly spent their time with a former abductee and the family members of those who had been abducted by North Korea.
トランプ大統領とお目にかかったのはわずか1年前でありますが、半世紀を超える日米同盟の歴史において、首脳同士がここまで濃密で深い絆に結ばれて1年間はなかったと思います。
And it's been only 1 year since I first saw President Trump in New York City. And looking back the over the half-century history of Japan-US alliance, we never seen two leaders of Japan and the United States forging as close relationship as ours and as strong bond as ours in just 1 year.
両国の友好関係を支えてきたのは、首脳同士だけではありません。政治、経済、文化などさまざまな分野で支えていただいているリーダーたちの努力があったからこそであります。
Of course, I'm very proud of my relationship with President Trump, but we are not the only ones who have supported this invaluable friendship between Japan and the United States. And on this occasion, I would like to acknowledge tremendous efforts by leaders from various fields, including political, business, and cultural leaders who are here today.
本日は日米の友好に日頃から尽力をいただいている各界の方々にもご参加をいただきました。この場をお借りいたしまして感謝申し上げますとともに、さらなる関係の発展に向けて引き続きお力添えをいただければ幸いでございます。
In honor of such contribution to our invaluable friendship, I invited many distinguished guests who have been making every effort to deepen our friendship. And I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation and also ask for further support for the development of our bilateral relationship.
最後となりますが、トランプ大統領の初めての訪日は本当に歴史的な訪問になったと思います。その最後の夜をこれ行くまで楽しんでいただければと思います。そしてここ日本から始まったトランプ大統領とメラニア夫人のアジア歴訪の旅が大成功に終わることをこれよりお祈り申し上げます。
Last but not least, let me share with you my honest impression about President Trump's visit to Japan this time. As I said, this was the very first visit by President Trump, and it was indeed a historic visit. And I do hope that you will enjoy your last night in Tokyo as you wish. And also, I sincerely hope that you will have a really successful trip to Asia this time, which started here in Japan.
それではお二人のご健康とご多幸、そして日本国民と米国民の友好関係がより一層発展していくことを記念して杯を挙げたいと思います。
So with that, I now would like to propose a toast, wishing all the best to President Trump and Madam First Lady, and also wishing for the further development of the friendship between Japan and the United States.
乾杯。Cheers.
安倍総理、ありがとうございました。Thank you very much, Prime Minister Abe. Now may I invite President Trump to give remarks. 続いてトランプ大統領よりご挨拶をいただきます。
Prime Minister and Mrs. Abe, this has been a really wonderful 2 days. We have to spend more time together because I have enjoyed every minute of it, even though he's a very, very tough negotiator. And Melania, a real friend of yours now, is Mrs. Abe, and I know you enjoyed it with me. You enjoyed it in Florida, and you enjoyed it here, and maybe even more so. But I want to thank you for the royal welcome. And it was really very much a working holiday, even on the golf course. So we can call it a couple of days off, but it wasn't. It was full work. Even as we played golf, all we did was talk about different things. We better not go into it. But I have to tell you, we did, and we made a lot of progress on a lot of fronts. I do want to congratulate Mr. Aoki. He was one of the great putters, probably still is. They say you never lose your putting. When you're a great putter, you never lose your putting. But I remember a specific tournament, believe it or not, because it was one of the best I ever saw. It was the greatest putting display that I ever saw. It was you and Jack Nicklaus. Was that the U.S. Open? U.S. Open. And you would get up and sink a 30-footer. He'd get up and sink a 25-footer. And this went on for the whole back nine. And then ultimately, Jack won by one stroke. But that was one of the greatest putting displays anybody has ever seen and there ever was. And I even know your putting stroke, very flat. And I spoke yesterday with the great Matsuyama, who's doing great, right? He's going to be a big star, and he's going to be great. I don't even know if he's with us tonight. I don't think he's with us tonight. But he does want to get together in New York, and we're going to get together. And even though I want to have a great interpreter, but he's rapidly learning the language. But I will tell you that it's an honor to be with you, because everyone in the world of golf talks about that one great afternoon, just putt after putt, and it was really great. So congratulations. Great gentleman. Great gentleman.
ありがとうございます。まず安倍総理と昭恵夫人に感謝の意を表したいと思います。この2日間、本当に素晴らしかったです。心から感謝しております。もちろん安倍総理は非常にタフな交渉の相手ですので、辛いところもあったかもしれません。しかし、本当に友情の絆を強化することができました。私だけではなくて、メラニアも昭恵夫人と大変いい友達になっています。フロリダで楽しい時間を過ごすこともできましたし、東京でもそうでした。ですので、こういう優雅な歓迎で本当に心から感謝しております。ゴルフはみんなこれは休みの趣味と思いがちなんですけれども、私たちは実は仕事ばかりの話していました。いろいろな問題について話しました。そこで青木さんにお礼を申し上げたいと思います。パッティングは本当に世界クラスのパッターで負けることはなかったと思います。私の覚えているのジャック・ニクラウスとの勝負の時、 US オープン大会で青木さんとニクラウスさんがパッティングの勝負していました。そしてワンストロークだけでジャック・ニクラウスが勝ちました。ですので非常に美しいパッティングしていました青木さん。で昨日松山選手にもその話しました。今度またニューヨークでの再会を楽しみにしています。
So my relationship with Shinzo got off to quite a rocky start because I never ran for office, and here I am, but I never ran. So I wasn't very experienced. And after I had won, everybody was calling me from all over the world. I never knew we had so many countries.
私最初当選されてから安倍総理とあんまり本当に相手にならなかったと思います。ぎくしゃくしたスタートでした。なぜかというと、私は政治家の経験はなかったからです。しかし当選してから世界中からさまざまな国から電話がかかってきました。こんなに国が多いんだということを初めて気づきました。
So I was now president-elect, but I didn't know you were supposed to not see world leaders until after you were in office, which was January 20th. So you were just not supposed to because it was considered bad form. It was not a nice thing to do, and I understand that from the standpoint of the president whose place you were taking. Okay?
そして私当選されたとは言ってもまだ11月でしたので、正式的に大統領になるのは1月20日からでした。ですので、本当に外部の指導者と会合することは、実はNG のことだと後に分かりました。
So you can only take so many calls from world leaders because, you know, everybody was calling. But Japan, you take. And some others. We took Germany. We took Russia. We took China. We took your prime minister. Go ahead.
であまりにも電話の数が多かったので、もう限界があるんだと感じました。しかし、やはり限られた国の電話はもちろん受けます。中国からのお祝いの電話とか、ドイツ、ロシアでもちろん日本の総理からの電話を受けました。
So it's November, and he said to me, "Congratulations on your victory. It was a great victory. I would like to see you. I would like to see you as soon as possible." And I said, "Anytime you want, just come on in. Don't worry about it." But I was referring to after January 20th. So I said, "Don't worry about it. Anytime you want. I look forward to seeing you. Just give us a call, no problem. Anytime you want." And all of a sudden, I get a call from actually Japan Press, and they said that our Prime Minister is going to New York to meet with the President-elect.
そして11月におめでとうという電話がたくさんありましたが、安倍総理からそういう電話がありました。なるべく早くお会いしたいという話がありまして、分かりましたと、じゃあいつでもいいですよというふうにちょっと適当に回答しました。私はもちろん頭の中に1月20日以降という意味でいつでもいいというふうに答えましたが、いつでもいいですよと。で実は日本のマスコミから電話が来て、実は総理は今ニューヨークに向かっていて、これから会合しようとしていますよと知らされました。
So the press is going crazy because the Prime Minister of Japan is coming to see me. I think it's absolutely fine, but I didn't really mean now. I meant sometime in February, March, or April, meaning you have a very aggressive, very, very aggressive, strong, tough Prime Minister. That's a good thing, by the way, not a bad thing.
で私はいつでもいいですよと言ったのに、もうはい、じゃあすぐ今だということになりまして、その私の前任はあまり面白くない話だったと思います。今すぐではなくて、私は2月とか3月とか4月と思ってたんですけれども、実は総理は非常にタフな人で積極的な政治家ですので、今すぐだということでした。私はそれを非常に頂点として考えています。
So then the New York media started calling me, and I was getting all sorts of signals from Hope and Sarah in a different position, and everybody. And they're going crazy. They're saying, "You cannot see him. It's so inappropriate. It looks bad." I say, "What's wrong?" They said, "It's a bad thing to see him. You have to wait till after," in all fairness, Barack Obama leaves office. And I said, "What do I do?" And they said, "Let's call." So I called him, and he wasn't there. He was on the airplane flying to New York. And I said, "You know what? There's no way he's going to land and I'm not seeing him." So I saw him, and it worked out just fine. Do you agree with that? And he actually brought me the most beautiful golf club I've ever seen. It was a driver that's totally gold, right? It's gold. And I looked at it. I said, if I ever use this driver, me, to use that driver at a golf club, I will be laughed off every course I ever go on to. But it is the most beautiful weapon I've ever seen, so I thank you for that. But we had a great meeting. It lasted forever. It was a very long meeting in Trump Tower. And for some reason, from that moment on, we had developed a really great relationship. And here we are today, and better than ever, and we're going to work together, and it's going to get more and more special, and we're going to work out problems of Japan and problems of the United States. and it's going to be something very, very special for both countries.
そこでメディアからいろいろ言われましたが、そして自分の側近たちにも言われました。これは適切なタイミングではないなどいろいろ言われました。でも私はどうすればいいんですか。じゃあ、総理に電話する、ということにしましたが、実は留守電でした。なぜかというと飛行機に乗っていらっしゃいました。すでにニューヨークに向かっているということで、もう着陸してから断ることはできないので、実際会うことにさせていただきました。で実は総理が素晴らしいお土産持ってきてくださいました。金色のゴルフのゴールドドライバーを持ってきてくれました。私はこれをゴルフ場で使ったら周りの人たちにもう爆笑されるだろうと思ったんですけれども、実は本当に美しい剣のようなものなんですよ。だから私はそのトランプタワーでの会合、総理との会合は本当にいい思い出になりました。いい関係になりまして、これからさらにいい友情になると確信しています。日本の問題の解決、そしてアメリカの問題の解決をすることはできると自信を持っております。
And I just want to finish by saying that Melania and I today visited the palace. This is a beautiful, beautiful place, and we met two very beautiful people, the Imperial Majesties, the Emperor and the Empress, and spent a long time talking to them today. And there was a lot of love in that room for all of you people, I can tell you, from everyone from Japan. They love the people of Japan. They love this country dearly, and they have great, great respect for your Prime Minister, and they truly think that your Prime Minister did very, very well when he decided to marry, or she decided to marry him, Mrs. Abe. But they have great, great respect, I can tell you that.
そしてこれで最後のコメントをさせていただきますが、本日は皇居に行くこともできました。非常に美しい場所に行きました。そこで天皇陛下と皇后陛下にお会いすることもできました。そこで非常に国民に対する愛情を感じました。でそれも安倍総理との共通点があると思います。安倍総理の日本の国民に対するその責任感を持っていますし、親しい気持ちを持っています。でそれは昭恵夫人がその素晴らしさを見て、このいい男と結婚することができました。本当にその自分の国民のこのふうに尊敬するリーダーがいるというのは、日本国民は恵まれていると思います。
And I just want to conclude by saying that our two great countries will have incredible friendship and incredible success for many centuries to come. Not years, not decades, but for many centuries to come. And again, it's an honor to have you as my good friend. And I just want to thank you and Mrs. Abe. This is a very, very special 2 days. We will not forget, and we will be back soon. Thank you very much. Thank you.
最後のコメントとしては、本当に素晴らしい友情ができました。これから素晴らしい成功を成し遂げることもできると思います。これ1年とか10年の単位ではなくて、米日両国は100年単位でこれからも明るい未来を持っていると思います。こういう安倍総理とこういう素晴らしい友達ができたというのは大変光栄に思います。安倍総理と昭恵夫人に改めて感謝の意を表したいと思います。
Thank you very much, everybody.
ありがとうございました。